There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. Because the owners of this country don't want that. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Oh, that's right. Deep sleep, as most people are. So what did he speak about? Critical thinking.
They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking.
Major fundamental. So anybody seen this layout of the mind before? You have the conscious mind, which I believe is like a fraction of a percentage of one. You have the subconscious mind, which holds all your memory. If I were to do hypnotic regression with someone, I could have access to all the memories. In fact, you can even argue you can go into past life memories too, right? Which is really interesting. But most of us, all the beliefs, all the memories, it's in the subconscious, right? And then you have this barrier of the critical factor, the ability to critically think. The objective of, say, hypnosis or persuasion or mind control is to get through the critical factor. If you can get through the critical thinking, you get inside the subconscious mind, not as just a memory you can access, but a belief that holds. So if we can get through the critical factor, you got mind control, basically, right? And so if you have a picket fence as a critical factor, a gateway into the subconscious mind, or like the edge of a castle, right, is the difference between someone controlling you and not, right? And so if I wanted to hypnotize the masses, right, if I wanted to create a huge hypnosis show where it was 7 billion people, okay, before I start waving the pocket watch and giving embedded commands and doing some kind of patter hypnosis line or whatever, I would prep it first. I would first make people regurgitate information instead of coming to their own conclusions, right? If I can get someone to just blurt out information and just, I say it to them, they repeat it to me. I say it to them, they repeat it to me. I say it to them, they write it down on their test. They're not really critically thinking. They're just believing that's the answer because of so much repetition. That's a good way for me to mind control them later. I would also get them conditioned to follow orders without them thinking about it. Through threats and coercion. You know, kind of like in school. Don't run, right? Sit at your desk. Don't talk. You'll get a detention. I'll put you in the corner. I'll humiliate you. Yeah, so I'm just going to get you to follow orders so well. So by the time you have a job, it's going to be easy for the boss to keep you in line so you show up 40 hours a week. And third, I would have them do this while their brains are developing. So you have semi-permanent neural pathways. Seems like permanent, but it's semi-permanent in their brain during their younger years, right? So it seems like they already got this covered, right? So this is the basis of critical thinking, getting into the subconscious mind, is they have already laid this out so well. And why it's so easy for everyone to just watch the news and be tricked. Right. So this is really crucial to understand before we start doing anything else. Like, you got to know the ground layer of this, right? Does this make pretty much sense? Right. I just helped you go through a week of hypnosis training, because it doesn't have to be super complex. You don't have to have all these long words. As long as you understand it is what it comes down to. Right. Anybody ever thought about this before? Right. I think a lot of us have, school has really set up everyone to just be off big time. Right. And I believe that most people, most of us would be so much further along if we were brought up correctly. I'm going to do all this soul searching when we're older. So it's all about building that critical factor. And I had a client a few months ago, and I was telling her about this concept, and she's like, yeah, I must have a huge critical factor because I knew about this stuff since the 80s, right? I'm like, yeah, that's right. So do they have a weak critical factor or a thin critical factor, or a weak or a strong critical factor? And not just that, but what information is in that critical factor to program the gate to open, right? Or how to respond to.